What's the best way to get rid of belly fat?
So there is really no specific diet for the stomach. It's just in general, you want to lose body fat. Your body fat maybe is at 15%, you want to get it down to 12% or to 10%.
Yes, that is 100% correct, because you cannot specifically target belly fat loss. The only way is to decrease your body fat overall around your entire body.
Every day you will start slowly going down with the body weight and down with the body fat. And the
Yes, again, 100% correct. You do want to be losing weight relatively slowly so you don't risk the chance of losing any muscle mass in the process. Now, the more body fat you have, you can get away with losing slightly more weight each week. But if you're relatively lean, at the very most you want to be looking at is half a kilo from week to week. If you're overweight or obese, you can look at a kilo once a week, and chances are that's going to be majority body fat.
also work out with the weights. That is how you get the stomach down.
When it comes to actually losing your body fat, down to your diet, being in a calorie deficit, not particularly really mattering what type of training that you're doing, as long as you're in a calorie deficit. Now, the reason why you need to specifically do weight training is so that when you are in your deficit, you are preserving the muscle mass you do have, so that you are just targeting the fat loss. Because if you're losing your muscle mass and your fat mass, then your metabolic rate is actually going to go slightly lower, because you're losing muscle mass, and it makes it much more difficult to keep that weight off in the long run, which is why it's always a better deal to focus on maintaining your muscle mass, lose your body fat, so that way when you actually revert back to eating more again, keeping with that hypertrophy weight training, you're actually going to build muscle mass again, instead of just putting all of that fat back on. And you're not going to put any muscle mass back on if you're not doing that hypertrophy training.
There will be regular ab training that we did for abs, which is just leg raises with straight legs, leg raises with bent knees, sit-ups, Roman chair sit-up was an absolute necessity, and we all believed in, and then crunches.
So, really good point here. Again, and you're trying to preserve the muscle mass that you do have on your cut, you do want to be making sure that you're doing some kind of targeted ab training. Research has actually shown that you don't get that much activation on the main abdominal muscles from your compound lifts. You get some, but not with the correct amount of stimulus to actually preserve the muscle mass when you're in a calorie deficit. So make sure you're actually doing some targeted ab training, working the different parts of your abs. From Arnold's training, he targets the upper, the lower abs, and the internal and external obliques. So it's really important that you're still doing that to help preserve the muscle mass you do have. And when you go back onto a bulk, make sure you're trying to build some muscle mass around the abs, build the thickness with these targeted exercises, so that way when you are cutting again, you don't need to get to such a lower body fat percentage for the abs to be seen, because you've got slightly more muscle mass and thickness and definition from the specifically targeted ab training.
The stomach down. And then of course, don't forget to do the vacuum. Practice the vacuum. So that when I'm gonna stand up right now, you stand like this.
So I think it's really important to be clear about this vacuum point, that it kind of does and doesn't do the job. Now, it 100% doesn't result in reducing your body fat or helping preserve your muscle mass, but it is a good little trick to get your body used to keeping your stomach in, by just always being sucking inwards, sort of giving the illusion that your stomach is smaller than it actually is. And by tensing the muscle more frequently, just gets your body a bit more used to tensing the muscle throughout the day, giving that again that illusion that it's a bit more in shape than it actually is. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've watched this far, don't forget to please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and put a comment on your thoughts on this topic.